Right. So for today's class, let's start with literary devices. So the first of all, what do you mean by figurative language? So when I say figurative language, the language that has meaning beyond the literal meaning. Uh, for example, understanding something not just as the beginner of English language, but as an advanced level person who can understand, who has a very good interpretation skills and read between lines. That is what a figurative language is trying to do, and to add that drama and effect in the sentence also. That is also one of the reason we use figurative language. So first, figurative language, which is the most easy one, and you know it already, most of you. So it is simile. It's an expression comparing one thing to another using words like or as. Now in simile there is a direct comparison. My dog is as smelly as dirty socks. Now, there is a direct comparison between the dog's smell and the dirty socks. However, now, if you look at other examples, he ran like a cat lightly and quietly. So, like, he ran like a cat. Direct comparison, blue mood passes. So, just remember, wherever you see like and as in the sentence, that sentence will have this figurative language, figure of speech. Next is personification, as the name says. It is like giving human qualities to animal or objects. For example, my car drank the gasoline in one gulp. Of course, cars don't drink, right? But drinking is the quality of human given to a non-living thing, that is a car. So it's a personification. Similarly, the cat laughed. The newspaper headline glared at me. It's a very good way of saying things, and it creates that effect in this writing. Whenever you write using figure of speeches, you definitely create that effect in person's head. Onomatopoeia is the word that imitates the sound it represents. For example, crunch, zapped, tick tock, whoosh. So any sound that is presented in the sentence is onomatopoeia, and it is any. So basically, whenever you find any sound in the sentence, that is onomatopoeia. Okay. Next is next is just a second. Right. Now, the next type of figure of speech is imagery, is when a writer invokes the five senses. So this is extensively utilized in descriptive writing. Imagery, when because in descriptive writing also we are supposed to invoke or in detail talk about how that scene, or basically we have to make sure we are using our five senses to write the description. So the smell reminded him of rotting tomatoes. The fence was uneven, like baby, teeth growing awkwardly. It is also a simile, however, like because it's like baby teeth growing awkwardly. Definitely, whenever you are identifying figure of speeches, it is not mandatory that every time you will have only one figure of speech in a sentence. There could be more than one. In this case, you have imagery as well as simile. Now, the next one is foreshadowing. Important hints that an author drops to prepare the readers for what is to come and help the reader anticipate the outcome. Foreshadowing is utilized in narratives also, because this creates that curiosity in reader to know what is going to happen next. Even in movies we have seen that a pipe is going to burst, but before it does, the author seems to scene where the family notices a small dark spot on the ceiling but ignores it. So it talks about something that is happening in future and then coming back, and you are talking about the background. So a slight hint of what's going to happen in future, maybe short term future or a long term future, anything is fine. However, you also talk about about the scene in the background. That is foreshadowing. Alliteration, again the easier ones. It is the repetition of the same consonant sound. Please note, it is not it is consonant sound, it is not vowels. So here Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It is consonant, p p p, all repeated. She sells by the seashore. Come and clean the chaos in your closet. The big bad bear scared all the baby bunnies by the bushes. Shut the shutters before the banging sound makes you shudder. Go and gather the green leaves on the grass. Now, all these examples are of alliteration, but many a times kids do this mistake that it is not the repetition of vowels. It's only the repetition of consonant sound. Again, let me emphasize on the word sound, because even if it is something like psychotic, psychotic is sounding not from P, it is sounding from S. That cannot be considered an like physical psychotic. No, it's not an alliteration, because although both the words start with P letter, but P is silent in the second one. And sound, you have to focus on consonant sounds, not the words. Okay, this is what is very, very important. All right. Now, the next thing is allusion, a casual reference to a famous historical or literary figure or event. Okay. If it doesn't stop raining, I'm going to build an ark. My sister has so many pets. I'm going to call myself Old McDonald's. You must have heard that rhyme. Old McDonald's had a farm. Okay. I was surprised this nose was not growing like Pinocchio. When she lost her job, she acted like Scrooge and refused to buy anything that wasn't necessary. Okay, these are few example of allusion. Allusion is basically you're referring to something which is famous, historical, or literary figure or an event. It is not necessarily only historical. It is something which a lot of people know about already. That is allusion. Right. Now the next one is paradox. Reveals something true which at first seems contradictory. He was a brave coward. So initially, so he is a brave boy, but initially he appeared to be coward. When you win all the time, you lose. It is again two contradictory things. You can save money by spending it. I know one thing, that I know nothing. Again, two contradictory phrases in the same thing. This is the beginning of the end. Deep down, you are really shallow. Now, deep down, you are really shallow. Two contradictory words used. So, wherever you see opposites used in the same sentence, you know it's a paradox. Okay. More than that, of identifying skills. Of course, we will be developing the writing skills, because what you need to develop yourself is as a writer, using a lot of figure of speeches, especially in the descriptives, and it will help you get a lot of marks. Okay, next one. Symbolism is using an object or action that means something more than its literal meaning. That is symbolism. For example, pink, the fight against breast cancer. Now, pink is definitely a color, right? However, here it meant fight against breast cancer, because breast cancers happens in females, and that is the reason they have chosen a color which signifies a gender. Okay, the Statue of Liberty, it's a statue. However, it is signifying freedom. Roses stands for romance. Violets represents shyness. Lily stands for beauty and temptation. This is what symbolism does. Now, what I want you to do is, once we are done with this, you should be writing in the comments here what. Give me some examples of each type of figure of speeches on your own. Please don't copy from what I have discussed over here. Next, idioms is an expression with a meaning different from the literal meaning of the word. I got cold feet before my speech. I was scared. My boss gave me the green lights. My boss said yes. Draw the curtains, close the curtains, put the lights out, turn off the lights. These are not the okay. The idioms means basically the meaning is different from the literal meaning, and we use it extensively even in our day-to-day life. Oxymoron, two opposite terms. Now please, paradox and oxymoron are two different things. Oxymoron is you are using two words, and paradox you can have two phrases. Okay, here if you see, both the words are next to each other. Tragic comedies, unbiased opinions, virtual reality, definite maybe, only choice, original copies. So in case of oxymoron, both the opposite terms are next to each other, However, in paradox, we have contradictory ideas. So many students, many times, they get confused between oxymoron and paradox. So paradox are two different ideas. And one simple way to remember is in oxymoron, you have two different opposite terms next to each other. Euphemism is a polite word or phrase used in place of one that might be two. Okay, so basically when you so pass away, die, let go, fired, pre-owned or pre-loved, used, pregnancy termination instead of abortion. On the street. I want you to learn all these things because you can use it in your sentences. Differently abled, handicapped, or disabled, fell off the back of a truck instead of stolen. Disabled, handicapped, or physically challenged, fat to vertically challenged, ignorant to mentally challenged, poor to working class, remedial to development. Okay? So euphemism is when you use polite phrase or subtle phrase instead of a harsh or an unpleasant or embarrassing word. Cliche, something which is used overly. For example, do not forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe. This is too cliched now because a lot of people have been using it, and it's an overuse. Talking a mile a minute, quiet as a mouse, easy as a pie. Easy as pie. They lived happily ever after. Read between the lines. Fall head over heels. Waking up on the wrong side of the bed. So cliche. Cliche is whenever certain phrases are overused. That's cliche figure of speech. Pun is a humorous play on words, often involving double meaning. A man stole a case of soap from the cornerstone. He made a clean getaway. Now, many a times you have paradox and pun also in the same figure of speech. Okay. I really wanted a camouflage shirt, but I couldn't find one. The grammarian was very logical. He had a lot of comma sense. A bicycle can't stand on its own because it's too tired. It's playing with the word. The pessimist's blood type is always B negative. So that's a pun. Pun is very, if you start using puns in your sentences, definitely you are doing a good job in writing because it's to write a pun takes a lot of brain. Next type of figure of speech is anaphor. Anaphor is the deliberate repetition of the first part of sentence in order to achieve an artistic effect known as anaphor. Now here, it's not alliteration, please. Alliteration is the repetition of sounds. Anaphor is a repetition of the first part of sentence. Every day, every night, in every way, I'm getting better and better. My life is my purpose. My life is my goal. My life is my inspiration. So my life, which is used in this at the start of the sentence, is constantly repeated. Okay. Assonance, this figure of speech is similar to alliteration, but in this particular case, vowel sounds are being repeated. So alliteration, consonant sounds, assonance, vowel sounds. Okay. Assonance creates internal rhyming within phrases or sentences by repeat vowel sounds that are same. On a proud round cloud in white high night. Fire at the private eye hired to pry on my business. So there is a repetition of uh, vowels sound. That is assonance. So don't get confused between alliteration and assonance. As let me repeat again, alliteration was repetition of consonant sound. Okay. Generally, students take it as a repetition of sounds or repetitions of words. They do forget to focus on both consonant sounds. Apostrophe in literature, apostrophe is a figure of speech, sometimes represented by an exclamation. A writer use apostrophe, so it's not okay. Someone who is so when the writer is addressing someone who's dead or not present or some inanimate object, then that is apostrophe. Feet don't fail me now. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder who you are. Now this guy is asking star, who you are. Okay. That was all about the figure of speeches. Now the next task that we are going to do is you are going to pick each and every figure of speech and put it in the comments here. The example for all the types of figure of speeches we have covered for today.